So we're here today with Teresa Tommell at, what is the name of your farm again?
Tommell Cattle Company.
Tommell Cattle Company. So we're going to talk a little bit more about the whole cattle company and the business and everything, but we are here really excited because we're going to be making some beef Wellingtons. And this is kind of a fun thing to do. Usually it's around holiday time that folks are doing this, and we're featuring this in May, so it could be a nice Mother's Day, little fancy thing to do. That's not a lot of work because we're going to see this. This recipe comes from Beef It's What's for Dinner, but we're going to be adding some fun stuff with it because of beef Wellingtons that you've had with your family and everything in the past. So Teresa, thank you so much. Your home is beautiful.
Thank you.
And so what we're doing right now is we're heating up the skillet, and we're going to be adding some mushrooms. It could be any kind of mushrooms, really, right?
Any kind of mushrooms.
So we've got some portobellos there, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to add those, and we'll start sauteing that. So while we're doing this, and we're going to be talking and cooking all at the same time, and I'll interrupt you here and there, but we're going to mix that up. And what we're going to be adding in part of this recipe, I'm just going to list it off and then we'll add a little bit, is going to be some onions, and we have some thyme leaves, and we're going to add some red wine, and that's going to give some great flavor. And we're going to cook those until they're nice and tender because we're going to add them to our fillets that we have over yonder that look beautiful. So tell me a little bit about your farm and what you do here and your family and everything.
So my husband Nick and I, we've been here for, this will be our 13th year here.
Wow.
We bought this farm. It was an old dairy farm, and he raises beef cattle. He backgrounds them here, so gets them healthy, and then they move on from here. So this is kind of a transition farm.
So this is really a unique farm in a sense because in New York we have a lot of cow-calf pairs. So we visited a lot of farms throughout the month and did just this on different farms where they have a lot of mama cows, and then they breed them, and then they'll sell off the babies, etc. eventually. But this is where they would basically come to either get a little heavier or to be on land, because I saw a whole field of cattle out there, and then you ship them off.
So yeah, his goal is to get a group of cattle that are similar so that they can move on together to Oklahoma and Kansas.
Right, and he ships them out there. So not only is he in the cattle business, but he's also kind of in the trucking business from what I've known.
He is. He has over 20 tractor trailers on the road right now.
Oh my goodness, the logistics alone.
Yeah.
So how many?
It's a full-time.
More than that. How many people actually help them? So you got to have at least 20 drivers. But how many people help make this farm?
For the farm, there's not too many, believe it or not. He does a lot of it himself. He has some people to help him in the office and some with driving the trucks, the cattle trucks. But here, mainly, he's the one doing the feeding, doing all the rations and all that.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
So, and now we're going to add some of the onions and the thyme that we have there. And we're going to add that in, and then we're going to put in the wine and make these mushrooms taste very good. We're going to add some umami, as we call it. So when we take mushrooms that have that fifth flavor, savory principle, and we add another ingredient that has umami, we're going to take the flavor and make it 8 times more of a power punch than it was before if they were just by themselves. Pretty interesting. A little 101 for the day. So this is going to be kind of like our bed or our base in our beef Wellingtons. So now you have a couple of kids, right?
I do. We have a son and a daughter. Our son is going to be 12 and our daughter is going to be 8.
And do they help out on the farm, or?
They do. Awesome. They do. They love the animals. My daughter has a pony and goats that she shows, and my son is interested in chickens, and they both show cows as well.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
So and they show them at the county fair and
county fair and state fair.
Did you hear the state fair is 18 days?
What? No.
Yeah, they just announced it. It's going to be 18 days long.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
We won't be there for all 18 days.
I know. Either
but it's a great opportunity for the kids, and to get together with a lot of like-minded kids that do the same thing. It's so nice because we have a small county fair here, and to have that larger scale experience is really nice for them.
So now, did you grow up in farming as well?
No, I didn't. No, I grew up in a suburb of Delmar.
Oh no! So you're kind of that city girl that married the farmer.
Yes, kind of.
So what generation is Nick?
Nick is, so he's third.
He's third, and your kids are going to be the fourth generation.
Kids are going to be fourth.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
What kind of, now you say you love to cook.
I do love to cook.
So what kind of things do you cook here on the farm or cook for the kids and the family and stuff, especially after long days?
So we do a lot of fish. I do a lot of fish and steaks. The kids, Josie especially, my daughter, loves steak, she loves lobster. She loves that, but I do a lot of vegetables. They love squash, is one of their favorites.
Fantastic. I know my kids are a little limited to like the amount of vegetables that they have. They have their favorites. Of course, they're not all the same. So our kitchen table is a hodgepodge of a lot of different vegetables. So
it's tricky, but one of my favorites is mushrooms.
Oh, I love them. Especially portobello, because they have a nice, deep, rich flavor to them, and they go phenomenal with steaks. And today we're going to be using tenderloin because usually beef Wellington is made with a tenderloin, and we're going to have a little bit of fun with it. And like I said, it could be an anytime fun recipe for celebration, and because this recipe is so easy, it can be done any time of year or for the holidays and stuff. I know beef Wellington's really popular at Christmas time too, because it's kind of fancy. You're wrapping steaks up with dough and making it look pretty cool. Do you think the kids are going to take on the farm and go on to that next generation to be that fourth generation?
Well, it'll be interesting to see. Josie definitely has that boss mentality like her father. Charles, I don't know. He loves the animals, but I don't know. And maybe more the trucking aspect for him.
So if you could talk to the consumer, and I know you have opportunities at state fairs and county fairs and stuff, here's an opportunity, what would you tell them? What do you want them to know about your life on the farm?
I think it's a wonderful life. I think it's a wonderful life to bring children up in. They get to experience a lot of things on a farm that maybe other kids don't. A lot of life lessons, that responsibility of taking care of animals, of seeing that life from beginning to end. Those are valuable lessons that some kids may or may not experience, or maybe don't get that full understanding of it. I think living on a farm and being able to see that is a real value. And then of course the animal care aspect, so important, and it really brings a sense of being able to be able to read an animal is really just a unique thing to be able to have, and have that connection and take care of them and get to know them and be able to read their signs and them telling you if they're not feeling good or.
Right, because the cow's not going to go out in the field and raise its hoof and say, by the way, I'm feeling a little kikish today. And the kids they've adapted to that. They're able to see that, and it's almost kind of a natural thing to some extent.
It is.
And so, how do you know when a cow is? When do you know a cow is not feeling well?
Behavior is a big thing with animals. So any behavior changes, not going to their food and water is again, that's another big thing. Right. I joke with my husband because I'm a veterinarian. Oh. And I joke with my husband because I always and our friends. And they always say, so do you do all the doctoring on the farm? I say they can't teach me in vet school what my husband learned growing up on a farm. Right. You can't teach that as well. Certainly you can teach it, but I could, look at the cows and maybe, a few minutes, pick out the ones. He can look at them and almost immediately
because he's with them, looking at them always.
And since he grew up that way. Sure. So it is. I think that is so important and something that you can't necessarily teach in school or out of a book. And it's so important.
You are a veterinarian.
I am.
So are you a veterinarian, a practicing veterinarian full time, or a vet for the farm, or?
So I am a part-time, full-time small animal veterinarian. Right now I specialize in cats. Ah. So I work in Guilderland.
Oh, okay, very good.
And we have an office in Saratoga.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. So, and that kind of, like you said, that kind of helps on the farm and everything. Yeah. I mean, granted, small animal versus very large animal is a little bit different, but you probably have a vet that will come in, though, if the cattle are sick to oversee that.
Absolutely.
And that's really important.
Yeah.
Do you have a nutritionist that comes and helps out, too?
We don't have one, but Nick works with some...
feed companies.
Yeah, feed companies, and he's worked with some nutritionists and veterinarians that also are in Kansas and Oklahoma that are seeing the cattle once they get to the feedlots.
Very good.
Yeah.
And so how's this?
But I think we're getting there.
All right. We'll get those stirred up a little bit more, and then we'll put them in the bowl. And I'm gonna cross over right here so we can get these. So right here we have our fillets, tenderloins, filet mignon, whatever you want to call them, and these look really, really good. And we're gonna, go ahead and put all that in there, and we'll add some more oil to the pan, and we're gonna sear them right in that pan because there's a lot of flavor in that pan left over from the mushrooms, and we want to continue that. Some more. So the 3 T's of grilling are time, temperature, and tongs. We never put a fork and stick because when we pierce it, that's when the juices go through.
Okay.
So we always do that. Oh, listen to that. Excellent. And we're going to salt it. And we're going to bring the salt up really high so that way it nicely covers everything. And the same with the pepper. Because that way it doesn't just get into one little spot. And once we turn it, we'll do the other side. And then what we're going to do is just let it kind of sit in there, and we're going to let it brown for a little bit. Get a nice good sear on that. And we're going to even put it on the sides a little bit too. So, I like let those things sit for a little bit longer. Oh yeah. That's the one thing that we all have to remember to do is be patient, and we'll spread them out too, because if you bring them too close together, it's going to steam and it's going to make it tough. So we want to kind of give that air circulation so it doesn't end up being steamed and tough. So we do cooking tips through this the whole time. So one of the things people sometimes get concerned about is the fact that, okay, so here we are in Bern, New York, and your cattle are going all the way to Oklahoma and Kansas. That's a long drive.
Sure is.
How do you ensure the comfort of the animal and the safety, etc.?
So I think, it starts here with my husband and him, choosing drivers that are safe. And then the animals do get to rest. They do get a rest stop, so they get water, food. But I think most of it is just ensuring that the driver is driving safe and not too fast, too rough with the animals. Either way, it's going to be stress. As a veterinarian, I worry about the same thing, of course. And even for us, a long drive of that length is stressful.
So about how long is it to drive? I mean, for them to go from one area to the I want to say St. Louis is like 14 hours.
I was going to say 16.
Okay, so then
somewhere
they
in that
stop,
neighborhood, maybe a little longer.
And then load the truck, let them rest, water, feed them, etc.
Well, stop would be like a halfway.
Okay.
So maybe 8 hours or 9 hours. So then they wouldn't go any further than that.
And I like the fact that you said that it concerns you as a vet.
Yeah.
But it's done all over the country, and the main area to finish off cattle, I mean, sometimes we do it here in our own state, but when you're running a large operation, like Nick is that you want to finish them off where the finishing is good. And I'm sure that I know that he practices BQA, and there's a brand new BQA transportation aspect as well that I'm sure that his guys are all licensed and certified in, because it's a growing thing is that beef quality assurance is that quality care for the animals. And I know that's his number one and your number one concern as a veterinarian. All right, now we can turn them. Oh yeah. Oh, see, look at that. That's a difference. So other than steak, what other kind of beef entrees and stuff do you make that your family loves?
Oh, of course, hamburgers.
Oh yeah. Now is it just a plain hamburger, or are we piling them up with cheese? There you go.
Pickles and whatever the kids want on them.
And ground beef, do you do casseroles or do you?
I like a enchilada. I do those sometimes.
That's good.
Tacos.
Taco Tuesday.
Yeah. I think whatever.
These are great. So, as I mentioned, we got this recipe of beef flux for dinner. And every recipe has been triple tested. This has been gene tested because I have made this before. I have done this before, so I know it is a great recipe. I know that you've done this before as well, and it's lots of fun because it's something different and unique and kind of fancy.
And who doesn't like bread and steak?
Oh, I know. My favorite is probably a really good baguette with steak, but wrapped up in a nice spiral is pretty good too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, look at that. Then you get that nice caramelization and what we call, now we're having lots of lessons today. The 3 T's of grilling and cooking, and then this browning aspect is called the Maillard reaction, and it creates all I can say, you can Google the definition of Maillard, but all I can say is yum. So now, does your daughter help with the cooking?
Yes.
Yeah?
She loves to cook also.
Does she have a certain...
She likes to bake. She's a baker.
Ah, very good.
She's more of a baker than a cook, I should say. She does the dishes too, though. She likes to do the dishes.
That was a must. That was a definite.
Yeah.
Do that with a mess.
That one.
That one's really good. We set up our end.
So what made you decide to become a vet?
So, it's an interesting story.
I love interesting stories.
I did not know I wanted to be a vet till I was a junior in high school. Most people I talk to say they always wanted to be a vet, or a lot of people say, oh, I always wanted to be a vet as a kid. I didn't really know I wanted to be a vet. So I was a junior in high school, and a guidance counselor of mine, it was time to kind of look at what I was going to do with my life, and said to me, you know, well, you have really, really strong science and math, you know, grades, and so what do you think about, you know, being, you know, going into like human medicine, and my mom is a nurse, and so I know a little about that, and it didn't really interest me. And so she said, well, what are your hobbies? What do you like to do? And, you know, science and math. And I said, I really love my dog. And so
guidance counselor's like,
so we're going through the list, and she says, well, what about a veterinarian? And so when I was in high school and growing up, my parents, you know, we weren't well-to-do. You know, they did not take our dog to a vet. And so I really wasn't familiar exactly with what a vet did.
Ah.
And so she said, well, I'll set you up with a internship, and you can go, you know, go shadow for the day. And I think it was probably within 5 minutes of being at this vet hospital that I said, this is what I want to do.
Let's grab that knife, and we're going to cut, I'm going to even this up here and make this almost, and we're going to cut this in half. All right, so, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take the mushrooms and we're going to make little piles, right? And put them right in the middle. Go ahead. And then what we're going to do is we're going to place a stake on each of the mushroom beds there, lack of a better term. And you know, technically if you're not a fillet family of sorts, this is, you know, you can use pretty much any cut of steak and just cut it down. I mean, you can go and use a sirloin. You want to use something tender, you can ask the butcher to cut petite New York strip fillets or ribeye fillets in a sense, and you can still have
really good with ribeye.
Oh, really good with ribeye. Now I know that you said that in the past that you've used some mustard, and you've actually spread some mustard on this. And as I was emptying out the groceries, you noticed something really cool.
Yeah, there's a cow head on this
I had
mustard.
no idea.
Yeah. Which I thought was really,
I know, and I wonder
really
why.
ironic.
Yeah, English mustard. Well, you know, cattle originated from England, so it's original.
Yeah.
So we're gonna open this up, and we're gonna take out our trusty. And so here, you spread it out. I'm gonna dollop it.
Okay. This is kind of fun, like little arts and crafts.
Well, you know, cooking is an art, and it should be fun, and it should be filled with love, and all those good things.
Oh yeah, that looks good. Yeah, that's new. Really new.
And if you have family members that don't like mustard or what have you, and you just skip that one, and you can always mark it too by putting a toothpick into the file. Yep. Now my daughter, she'd want ketchup on hers.
Oh, my son would want ketchup too.
There you go. All right, and then the next thing that it says is that we would take it in the four corners and then like kind of twist them. And then I think that we use like...
Yeah, and then the egg goes on the outside, and actually we may need to brush again because that makes it easier to
stick.
Yeah.
I know. Here you pull it together and twist, and we'll do it this way. And I'm almost tempted to turn it upside down, but I think that the juices would kind of flow out. But I think this is going to kind of stick.
Maybe we can stick it together with that. Because they say getting it sealed well is important to keeping the steak moist.
There you go. And who said it had to be pretty? Because it's going to... We'll put that right there. You want to put that on. That was a big one.
Yeah, this is a big one.
And we saved the easiest one for last, the smallest one. Wash this. And then we can put it right here in the oven. So it'll go in the oven at 425, about 11 minutes. So here's the time.
Oh my gosh, wow. That's going to be quick. Okay. Okay, so that just, yep.
Set the time. Look at that. I like the effect of the egg wash and everything. It really kind of kept everything together.
And it looks buttery. It makes it look buttery.
So I got some fun steak knives because you can't have this amazing meal without authentic steak knives.
Those are nice.
Spray the bottom. Perfect. And then what we'll do is, look at that. It's a great meal. Teresa, thank you so much for your time today. This was a lot of fun.
So much fun.
And honest, the hot mess that I thought we were building actually turned out to be really pretty. So it is a workable product.
Yeah.
And then, like we said, you've used this. You've adapted from beef Wellington recipes in your family and what you usually do, and we adapted this to beef it's what's for dinner. So this was awesome putting it all together, which is what recipes are all about, right? Is kind of mixing and matching your favorites together. And thanks for your time and your sharing of your family and the farm. And,
Thank you so much.
And I hope your family enjoys this tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks.